12 hours later, the Starseeker was ready to fly again. Chief Ki-hoon had been right. It was better than new. The human engineers had not just repaired the damage. They had improved almost everything. Your new life support system will work 3 times better than the old one, Ki-hoon explained to Soman as they toured the upgraded ship. And we added some backup systems so this cannot happen again. Soman ran her hands over the new equipment with wonder. This technology is decades ahead of ours, maybe centuries. We are happy to share, Ki-hoon said. Knowledge should help everyone. Mira found Dr. Yuna in the medical bay preparing supplies for their journey home. You do not need to give us anything else, Mira said. You have already done so much. Dr. Yuna smiled as she packed advanced medical kits. These supplies could save lives. Besides, we have plenty. Why are you really doing this? Mira asked. There must be a reason humans help everyone. What do you get from it? Dr. Yuna paused in her packing. What do we get? We get to sleep well at night knowing we made the galaxy a little safer. We get to see families reunited. We get to know that intelligence and kindness still exist. She handed Mira a small device. This is a medical scanner. It can diagnose hundreds of conditions instantly. Your people might find it useful. Hyunwoo was on the bridge with Navigator Seojin, learning about human navigation technology. Your star charts are incredible, he said. You have mapped systems we never knew existed. Exploration is important to us, Seojin explained. We want to understand the universe, but we also want to make sure no one gets lost out here. He showed Hyunwoo a display full of signals. These are distress beacons from all over the galaxy. We monitor them constantly. All of them? Hyunwoo asked with amazement. As many as we can. We have monitoring stations in every major sector. When someone calls for help, we hear them. Taehyun was still on the human ship, working with Science Officer Nayung to study the ancient station. They had learned amazing things in just a few hours. The builders of this station were incredibly advanced, Nayung explained. Their technology was different from ours, but equally sophisticated. They disappeared about 50,000 years ago. Any idea what happened to them? Taehyun asked. Not yet, but we will keep studying. Would you like to work with our research teams? We could use a Valdorian perspective. Taehyun's eyes lit up. You would want me to work with humans? Science has no boundaries, Nayung said. Good ideas come from everyone. As their departure time approached, Captain Donghyun called them all to his ready room for a final meeting. It was a comfortable space with books and artwork from many different worlds. Before you leave, he said, I want to give you something. He handed Mira a small device that looked like a communication unit. This is an emergency beacon. It connects directly to our monitoring network. I do not understand, Mira said. If you ever need help again, Captain Donghyun explained, just activate this device. We will come no matter where you are. Mira stared at the small device. But we could be anywhere in the galaxy. It does not matter. If you call, we will answer, Hyunwoo leaned forward. Captain, can I ask you something? How many of these beacons have you given out? Thousands, Captain Donghyun said. To anyone who needs them. And you respond to all the calls? Every single one. Sometimes we cannot arrive in time, but we always try. Mira felt overwhelmed again. Why? Why do you care so much about strangers? Captain Donghyun was quiet for a moment, thinking about his answer. Let me tell you about human history, he said finally. Long ago, we were trapped on one small planet. We fought wars and hurt each other. We almost destroyed ourselves. He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars. But we learned something important. We learned that all intelligent life is precious. Every species has something unique to offer. When we lose someone, we all become poorer. So you appointed yourselves as protectors? Soman asked. Not protectors, Captain Donghyun said. Helpers, friends. When you see someone in trouble, you help them. It is that simple, Taehyun spoke up. But you are so powerful. You could take anything you wanted. Captain Donghyun turned back to them with a serious expression. Power without compassion is just destruction. We learned that lesson the hard way. Now we use our abilities to build up, not tear down. Commander Jisoo entered the room. Captain, the Valdorian ship is ready for departure. All systems check out perfectly. Thank you, Commander. Captain Donghyun looked at each of the Valdorians. It has been an honor to meet you. Your people's love of knowledge and peace is admirable. The honor is ours, Mira said. You saved our lives and showed us that the old stories were true. What will you do about the ancient station? Taehyun asked. We will study it carefully and share what we learn. Science Officer Nayung said. Since you discovered it, your people will get full credit for the find. As they prepared to leave, Dr. Yuna had one more gift. These are personal communicators, she said, giving each crew member a small device. You can use them to talk to each other across any distance. They also connect to our emergency network. You are giving us too much, Mira protested. It is not nearly enough, Dr. Yuna replied. You cannot put a price on life. The farewell ceremony was simple but moving. The human crew gathered to see them off. Many had gifts, books, artwork, small devices that would improve life aboard the Starseeker. Remember, Captain Dongyun said as they shook hands one final time, you are never alone out here. If you call, we will come. Mira felt tears in her eyes. How do we thank you for this? Live well, the human captain said. Learn much. Help others when you can. That is thanks enough. The trip back to Valdorian space was different from any journey Mira had ever taken. Their ship ran better than ever. The new systems made everything easier and safer, but more than that, they carried proof that the galaxy was not a cold, empty place. I keep thinking about what Captain Dongyun said, Hyunwoo said as they traveled through hyperspace, about power and compassion. Humans could rule the galaxy, Soman agreed. Their technology is beyond anything we have seen. But they choose to help instead. It makes sense, Taehyun said. If you have everything you need, what else matters except making others happy? 3 days later, they arrived at the Valdorian homeworld. The space traffic controllers were amazed to see them. They had been listed as missing and presumed lost. Their report caused a sensation. Humans were real. The childhood stories were true. There really was a species out there watching over the galaxy, helping anyone in need. Within days, the story spread across Valdorian space and beyond. Other species began coming forward with their own stories of mysterious rescues. Ships saved from disasters, pirates captured by unknown vessels, help arriving when all hope was lost. The pattern was always the same. Advanced ships with friendly crews. Humans who asked for nothing except the chance to help. Mira found herself giving speeches to government officials and scientists. Everyone wanted to know about the humans. What were they like? How advanced were they? Why did they help? They help because it is the right thing to do, she always said. They have the power to do anything, but they choose to do good. A month later, Mira was in her office reading reports when her communication device chimed. It was a message from Science Officer Nayung. Captain Mira, we have made an amazing discovery about the ancient station. Would you and Taehyun like to join our research team? We have learned so much, but we need Valdorian expertise to understand it fully. Mira smiled and activated her reply. We would be honored to help. As she prepared for another journey into space, Mira thought about the changes in her life. She was no longer just a research captain. She was an ambassador between her people and humanity. She carried proof that legends could be true. The galaxy was vast and sometimes dangerous, but it was also full of wonders and populated by beings who cared about each other. The humans had taught her that the most advanced technology was not weapons or engines. It was kindness. And in the depths of space, that beacon Captain Dongyun had given her pulsed quietly, with a signal that reached across the galaxy. A promise that no matter how far she traveled or how lost she became, someone would always answer if she called. The stories her grandmother had told were true. Humans existed, and they were everything the legend said they would be. Heroes who traveled the stars not to conquer, but to ensure that no one ever had to face the darkness alone. In a universe full of wonders, that was the greatest wonder of all. 2 hours later, Mira felt better than she had in days. The human medical equipment had not just given her oxygen, it had healed damage she did not even know she had. Dr. Yuna said they could rest as long as they needed, but Mira wanted to see more of this incredible ship. Would it be possible to meet your captain? She asked. Of course, Dr. Yuna said. Captain Dongyun wanted to speak with you once you were feeling better. She led them through more corridors filled with wonders. The ship was so big that it had multiple levels connected by lifts that moved silently and smoothly. They passed rooms full of equipment that Mira could not even identify. How many people serve on this ship? Hyunwoo asked. About 800, Dr. Yuna replied. The Resilient Thunder is a heavy cruiser. We have ships much bigger than this. 800 people. The Starseeker had 4 crew members and felt crowded sometimes. This ship was like a flying city. They reached the bridge and Mira gasped. It was enormous, with dozens of stations and crew members working quietly and efficiently. The main screen showed a view of space that was so clear and detailed it was like looking through a window. Captain Dong-hyun stood up from his command chair as they entered. He was tall and had kind eyes, but Mira could see the strength in him. This was someone who had seen many battles and won them all. "Captain Mira," he said, extending his hand in what Mira realized was a human greeting. "I am glad you are feeling better. I am sorry we did not arrive sooner." "Sooner?" Mira shook his hand, surprised by how warm and firm his grip was. "You traveled 300 light years in 3 days. How is that even possible?" Captain Dong-hyun smiled. "Our ships are fast. But please let me introduce you to my senior staff." A woman with short black hair stepped forward. "I am Commander Jisoo, head of security. We have been tracking the Kethmar raiders who attacked you." "Tracking them?" Mira asked. "Yes," Jisoo said. "They are still in this system, hiding behind the 4th planet. They think they are safe." A man with engineer's insignia joined them. "I am Chief Cahoon," he said. "My teams are examining your ship. The damage is significant, but we can repair it." "You can repair it?" Salman asked with excitement. "But the life support system was completely destroyed." Cahoon nodded. "We have spare parts that will work. Your technology is not too different from some of our older designs. Give us 12 hours and your ship will be better than new." Taehyun was staring at the main screen, which showed detailed scans of the ancient station. "Your sensors are incredible. Look at the detail you are getting from that alien structure." A younger human woman approached them. "I am Science Officer Nayoung," she said. "That station is fascinating. Our preliminary scans suggest it is over 50,000 years old. We would like to study it more if you do not mind sharing the discovery." "Of course," Taehyun said quickly. "We would be honored to work with you." Captain Dong-hyun gestured toward the main screen. "But first, we have some business to take care of. Commander Jisoo, please show our guests what we found." The screen changed to show 5 ships hiding in the shadow of a distant planet. Mira recognized them immediately, the same Kethmar raiders who had attacked them. "They are waiting to see if any rescue ships arrive," Jisoo explained. "Then they will attack and rob the rescuers too. It is a common pirate tactic." "But you found them," Mira said. "Our sensors are very good," Jisoo said with a slight smile. "The question is what to do about them." Mira felt a chill. She looked around the bridge at all the humans working calmly at their stations. "You are going to fight them?" "If necessary," Captain Dong-hyun said. "But first we will give them a chance to surrender." The captain walked to his command chair and pressed a control. "This is Captain Dong-hyun of the Terran Navy to Kethmar vessels. You are guilty of piracy and attempted murder. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly under galactic law." The response came quickly. It was Captain Vok's voice, full of anger and arrogance. "Terran Navy? Never heard of you. This is Kethmar space now. Leave or we will destroy you like we destroyed the others." Captain Dong-hyun sighed. "I was hoping they would be reasonable." "Commander Jisoo, please prepare for combat operations." "Wait," Mira said quickly. "There are 5 of their ships. They have heavy weapons. Are you sure you can win?" Commander Jisoo looked at her with surprise. "Captain, those are light raiders. Old ships with basic weapons. We could destroy them all in under a minute." "But we will not," Captain Dong-hyun said firmly. "We will disable them and capture the crews. They will face justice, not execution." The main screen showed the Kethmar ships moving toward them. They were spreading out in an attack formation, trying to surround the human vessel. "All ships battle stations," Captain Dong-hyun announced calmly. "Rules of engagement are capture, not kill. Disable their weapons and engines only." Mira watched in amazement as the human crew worked. There was no panic, no shouting. Everyone moved with calm efficiency. It was like they had done this 1,000 times before. "Kethmar ships opening fire," reported the tactical officer. On the screen, Mira saw energy beams shooting from the raider ships toward the resilient thunder. She held her breath, waiting for impact. The beams hit the human ship and simply disappeared. There was no explosion, no damage. The ship did not even shake. "Shields holding at 100%, the tactical officer reported. Enemy weapons had no effect. Captain Vok's voice came over the communications again, but now he sounded worried. "What kind of shields are those?" "Nothing should stop our plasma cannons." "Return fire," Captain Dong-hyun ordered. Precision targeting only. What happened next was like watching magic. Thin beams of blue light shot out from the human ship. They moved so fast that Mira could barely see them. Each beam hit a Kethmar ship exactly where its weapons were mounted. In seconds, all 5 raider ships were floating helplessly in space. Their weapons were gone, but the ships themselves were undamaged. No one had been killed. "This is impossible," Captain Vok transmitted. His voice was full of fear now. "What are you?" "We are humans," Captain Donghyun replied. "And you are under arrest." Smaller human ships detached from the resilient thunder and moved toward the disabled raiders. Mira watched as they carefully captured each pirate vessel. "That was incredible," Hyunwoo said with awe. "Your weapons are so precise." "We do not like to kill unless we have no choice," Commander Jisoo explained. "These pirates will face trial and punishment, but they will live." Chief Ki-hoon was studying readings from the captured ships. "Captain, we recovered all the items they stole from the Valdorian vessel, including some personal belongings." "Excellent," Captain Donghyun said. "Please return everything to Captain Mira's crew." Science Officer Na-young approached Taehyun with a smile. "We also found their database of previous attacks. This raid group has been responsible for 17 ship attacks in the last 6 months. Thanks to your distress call, we were able to stop them." Mira felt overwhelmed. These humans had not just saved her crew. They had stopped the pirates from hurting anyone else. And they had done it all without killing a single being. "Why do you do this?" she asked Captain Donghyun. "Why do you travel across the galaxy to help strangers?" The human captain looked at her seriously. "Because space can be a dangerous place. Someone needs to watch out for those who cannot protect themselves." "But you are so advanced," Somin said. "You could rule the galaxy if you wanted to. Your technology is far beyond anything we have seen." "Rule?" Captain Donghyun looked confused. "Why would we want to rule? We have everything we need. Our job is to explore and to help where we can." Commander Jisoo added, "We have a saying in the Terran Navy, those who can help must help. It is our duty." Mira looked around the bridge at all these amazing humans. They had weapons that could destroy fleets, technology that seemed like magic, and ships that could cross the galaxy in days. But they used all that power to protect and rescue. "Captain Donghyun," she said formally, "on behalf of the Valdorian people, I thank you. You have saved our lives and shown us that the galaxy is not as dark as we thought." The human captain smiled. "You are very welcome, Captain Mira. Now let us get your ship repaired and get you home safely." The alarm was so loud that Mira thought she was dreaming. She had been sitting quietly, trying to save air by not moving much. The bridge was cold and dark except for a few emergency lights. Then suddenly every warning system on the ship started screaming at once. "What is happening?" She called out, but her voice was weak. The thin air made it hard to speak. Somin was at her station, staring at her instruments with wide eyes. "Captain, something is coming." "Something big." Hyunwoo tried to work his damaged navigation controls. "I am getting readings, but they do not make sense. The object is huge. Bigger than anything I have ever seen." Mira forced herself to stand up. Her head felt dizzy from the bad air, but she had to see what was happening. On screen, the main display flickered to life. What they saw made them all freeze in shock. A ship was approaching them. But calling it a ship was like calling a mountain a rock. It was enormous. Bigger than the ancient station next to them. Bigger than the largest space stations in Valdorian space. It moved through space like a metal mountain, but with purpose and grace. "That is impossible," Taehyun whispered. "No one builds ships that big." The ship was beautiful in a terrifying way. Its hull was smooth and dark, but covered with lights that pulsed like a heartbeat. Strange curves and angles made it look like it was alive. Weapons mounted on its sides looked like they could destroy planets. "Captain," Somin said, her voice shaking, "the power readings from that ship are off the charts. Its reactor output is more than our entire home fleet combined." As they watched, smaller ships detached from the giant vessel. These were still bigger than the Starseeker, but they moved fast and smooth, like hunters or guards protecting their leader. "Who could build something like that?" Hyunwoo asked. "What species has that kind of technology?" Before anyone could answer, their communication system crackled to life. The voice that came through spoke perfect Valdorian, but with an accent they had never heard before. "Attention, Valdorian vessel Starseeker. This is Captain Donghyun of the Terran Navy vessel Resilient Thunder. We received your distress call. Please respond." The 4 crew members looked at each other in total silence. Terran? They had never heard of any species called Terrans. "Please respond," the voice said again. "We are here to help." Mira tried to speak, but found her throat was too dry. She swallowed hard and tried again. "This is Captain Mira of the Starseeker. Who are you? What species are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice came back, and Mira could hear something like amusement in it. We are humans, Captain Mira, and we are here to get you out of trouble. Humans. The word hit them like lightning. Hyunwoo grabbed his chair so hard his knuckles turned white. Taehyun made a sound like he could not breathe. Soman just stared at the giant ship on their screen. That is impossible, Mira said. Humans are just stories. I can understand your surprise, Captain Donghyun said. His voice was calm and friendly. We do not make contact very often, but your distress signal reached our monitoring stations. We came as fast as we could. You came from monitoring stations, Mira asked. How far away were you? About 300 light years, the human captain said. We made good time. 300 light years. That was impossible. Even the fastest Valdorian ships would take months to travel that distance. These humans had done it in 3 days. Captain Mira, Dongyun continued, our sensors show your life support is failing. We need to get you aboard our ship quickly. Are you able to move to your airlock? Mira looked at her crew. They could barely stand up from the thin air. We are very weak. The air is almost gone. Understood. We are sending a rescue team now. Stay calm and try to conserve your strength. On the main screen, they watched one of the smaller human ships approach their vessel. It moved with incredible precision, like a master pilot was controlling it. The ship docked with their airlock so gently that they barely felt it. Docking complete, someone reported. Their ship is connected to our airlock. Opening outer hatch now, the human captain said. My medical team is coming aboard. The airlock opened and the first human stepped through. Mira had never seen a human before, but somehow she knew exactly what she was looking at. The human was female, about average height with dark hair and kind eyes. She wore a uniform that looked both practical and elegant. Behind her came 3 more humans carrying medical equipment. I am Dr. Yuna, the human said in perfect Valdorian. We are here to help you. She moved quickly to check each crew member. Her hands were gentle but professional as she examined them. The other humans started bringing in equipment to clean the air and stabilize their life support. You are all suffering from oxygen deprivation, Dr. Yuna said. But you will be fine once we get you to our medical bay. How do you speak our language so well? Taehyun asked weakly. Dr. Yuna smiled. We have been listening to galactic communications for a long time. We learn quickly. One of the other humans, a man with engineer's tools, was talking to Soman about their ship's damage. Your life support took heavy damage, he said. Kethmar energy weapons from the look of it, Soman nodded. How did you know? We have seen their work before, the engineer said grimly. They are a problem we take very seriously. Dr. Yuna was setting up a portable air recycler that immediately made breathing easier. Can you walk or do we need stretchers? We can walk, Mira said, though she was not sure that was true. Good. We will go slowly. They made their way through the airlock and into the human ship. Mira expected to see advanced technology, but what she found was beyond anything she could have imagined. The corridors were wide and bright, with walls that seemed to glow with their own light. Everything was clean and efficient, but also beautiful. Art hung on the walls, pictures of planets and stars that looked incredibly real. Your ship is amazing, Hyunwoo said as they walked. Thank you, Dr. Yuna replied. The Resilient Thunder is one of our newer vessels. Built for long-range missions, they passed other humans in the corridors. All of them wore the same elegant uniforms. All of them nodded politely to the Valdorian crew. None of them seemed surprised to see aliens on their ship. How many species have you helped? Mira asked. More than I can count, Dr. Yuna said. It is what we do. They reached the medical bay, which was larger than the entire bridge of the Starseeker. The equipment looked incredibly advanced, but Dr. Yuna operated it with easy familiarity. Please lie down here, she said, guiding Mira to a comfortable bed. This will help restore your blood oxygen levels. As the human medical equipment worked on them, Mira felt strength flowing back into her body. The machine was not just giving them oxygen, it was healing damage caused by breathing bad air for 3 days. Dr. Yuna, she said, why did you come for us? We are strangers. We are not even from your part of space. The human doctor looked at her with those kind eyes. Because you asked for help, she said simply. That is enough. Through the medical bay windows, Mira could see more human ships moving around their disabled vessel. They seemed to be scanning it in the ancient station nearby. What will happen to our ship? She asked. Our engineers will repair it if possible, Dr. Yuna said. If not, we will make sure you get home safely. Home. For the first time in 3 days, Mira actually believed she might see home again. These mysterious humans had traveled hundreds of light years to save 4 strangers. It seemed impossible, but it was happening. The stories were true. Humans were real, and they were everything the legends said they would be. 3 days had passed since the Keithmar attack. The Starseeker drifted silently in space like a dead thing. Inside, the 4 Valdorians tried to stay alive while their air slowly ran out. Captain Mira sat in her command chair, but there was nothing left to command. The ship was cold now. They had turned off most systems to save power for the life support. Even with the power savings, Soman said they only had hours left. Status report, Mira said. It was something to do, something to keep their minds busy. Salman looked up from her engineering station. Her face was tired and pale. Air recycling is at 12% efficiency. The main processor took too much damage. We have maybe 6 hours of breathable air left. 6 hours. Mira felt her stomach drop. She had hoped for more time. Maybe enough time for a rescue ship to find them. But 6 hours was nothing in the vastness of space. Any response to our distress signals? She asked Hyunwoo. The navigator shook his head. Nothing, Captain. I have been sending the signal every 10 minutes for 3 days. If anyone was out there, they would have heard us by now. Taehyun was sitting on the floor next to his broken science station. He was usually full of energy and excitement about their discoveries. Now he just looked young and scared. Do you think anyone will find our ship eventually? Mira did not want to answer that question. The truth was that they were too far from any normal space routes. Their ship was small and would be hard to spot on long-range sensors. It might drift here for years, maybe centuries, before anyone found it. Maybe, she said instead. The Valdorian Navy will look for us when we do not report back. But she knew that was not really true. The Navy would search for a while, but space was too big. There were too many places to look. Eventually, they would give up and mark the Starseeker as lost. Hyunwoo was working with his navigation computer, even though it was mostly broken. I keep thinking about the coordinates of this place. We were supposed to be the first ones to explore this system. The first ones to see that ancient station. Instead, we found pirates, Soman said bitterly. The galaxy is supposed to be getting more civilized. But there are still predators out there. Mira nodded. It was true. The Valdorians believed in peace and knowledge. They thought most species were basically good. But the Kethmar proved that some beings were just evil. They took pleasure in causing pain. At least we tried, Taehyun said quietly. We tried to learn something new, to add to the knowledge of all species. A lot of good it did us, Somin replied. Knowledge does not stop pirates. Knowledge does not repair a broken life support system with no parts. They fell silent again. The only sound was the quiet hum of the failing air recycler. Each breath they took brought them closer to the end. Mira looked out the window at the ancient station. It was still there, floating silently next to them. I wonder who built that thing. How long has it been empty? Probably longer than our entire civilization has existed, Taehyun said. Whoever they were, they are gone now, just like we will be soon. Do not talk like that, Mira said. But her heart was not in it. She was trying to stay positive for her crew, but it was getting harder. Hyunwoo suddenly looked up from his broken controls. Captain, do you remember the old stories about humans? Mira frowned. Humans? What about them? My grandmother used to tell me stories when I was little. She said that somewhere far away there was a species called humans. They had ships that could cross the entire galaxy, and they would help anyone who asked for it. Somin laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Those are just stories, Hyunwoo. Tales to make children feel safe. Maybe, Hyunwoo said. But grandmother said they were real. She said they had saved her cousin's ship once, many years ago. Taehyun sat up straighter. I heard those stories too. My teacher at the academy mentioned them. She said humans were supposed to be the most advanced species in the galaxy, but they stayed away from politics. Children's tales, Soman said again. If humans were real, we would have met them by now. Our people have been exploring space for 300 years. Mira had heard the stories too. Every Valdorian child grew up with tales of the mysterious humans. They were supposed to be incredibly advanced, but also incredibly kind. The story said they watched over the galaxy and helped anyone in need. Even if they were real, Mira said, they would never hear our signal out here. We are too far from anything. The stories say they have sensors everywhere, Hyunwoo said. They can hear distress calls from across the galaxy. Stories, Soman repeated. We need to deal with reality. The reality is that we are going to die out here and no one is coming to save us. Mira could not argue with that. It was the truth. They had been sending distress signals for 3 days. If anyone was going to respond, they would have done it by now. The ship shuddered slightly. It was probably just the damaged hull adjusting to temperature changes, but it reminded them all how fragile their situation was. They were surrounded by the vacuum of space. Only thin metal walls kept them alive, and those walls were damaged. I wish I could have seen home one more time, Taehyun said softly. I wanted to show my family the data we collected. Even without the ancient station, we found some interesting stellar phenomena. I wanted to see my daughter graduate from the academy, Hyunwoo added. She is going to be a pilot like me. Somin was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I just wanted to build better engines. Engines that could take us farther and bring us home safer. Mira felt tears in her eyes. These were good people. They did not deserve to die because of pirate greed. But the universe did not care about fairness. Space was cold and empty and did not care about the dreams of 4 young Valdorians. I am sorry, she said to her crew. I am sorry I brought you here. I should have been more careful. It is not your fault, Captain, Hyunwoo said. We all wanted to explore. We all knew the risks. But Mira still felt responsible. She was the captain. It was her job to keep her crew safe, and she had failed. The air was getting thinner now. She could feel it. Each breath took more effort. Solman was right about the time they had left. Maybe 6 hours was optimistic. At least we are together, Taehyun said. At least we do not have to face this alone. That was something Mira thought. They would die as a crew, as friends. There were worse ways to go. She looked out at the stars one last time. They were beautiful, but they seemed farther away now, cold and distant. The galaxy was full of wonders, but it was also full of dangers. Today, the dangers had won. The distress signal continued to broadcast automatically, a small radio voice calling out into the void, begging for help that would never come. In a few hours, even that would stop when the power finally died. Then there would be only silence. Captain Mira stood on the bridge of her small research ship, the Starseeker. She watched the stars through the main window. They looked so peaceful from here. Little points of light in the endless black of space. She had been doing this job for 10 years, and the beauty still amazed her. Captain, we are getting close to the target area, said Hyunwoo from his seat at the navigation station. He was young for a navigator, only 25, but he was good at his job. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. Mira nodded. Good work, Hyunwoo. Take us to the coordinates. Let's see what we can find out there. The Starseeker was not a big ship. It had a crew of only 4 people. Mira was the captain. Hyunwoo was the navigator. Soman was the engineer who kept everything working. Taehyun was the scientist who studied new forms of life they might find. They were Valdorians, a peaceful people who loved to learn about the universe. Their government sent ships like theirs to explore new star systems. They looked for planets with life. They studied strange objects in space. They made maps of unknown areas. This mission was supposed to be easy. They were going to a system that looked empty on their long-range sensors. No planets with life. No dangerous radiation. Just a few dead rocks orbiting an old star. Perfect for a quick survey mission. Captain, I am picking up something strange, Zaman called from the engineering station. Her voice sounded worried. There is a large object ahead. It was not on our charts. Mira walked over to look at Soman's screen. The engineer was right. There was something big floating in space ahead of them. It looked like a space station, but it was old. Very old. Can you tell what it is? Mira asked. Soman studied her readings. It looks like a station or maybe a very large ship. But the metal is strange. I have never seen anything like it. The design is not from any species I know. Taehyun looked up from his science station. His eyes were bright with excitement. Captain, this could be a major discovery. An unknown civilization? Think of what we could learn. Mira felt excited too, but she was also careful. Space could be dangerous. Run a full scan first. I want to know if it is safe before we get close. For the next hour, they studied the strange object. It was huge, maybe 10 times bigger than their ship. It seemed to be dead. No power readings. No life signs. Just floating in space like a metal ghost. I think it is safe, Captain, Soman said. No weapons that I can see, no power. It looks like it has been empty for a very long time. Mira made her decision. Take us closer, but keep the engines ready. If anything looks wrong, we leave fast. They moved toward the ancient station slowly. As they got closer, they could see more details. The metal was black and covered with strange markings. The design was unlike anything in their databases. Look at those symbols, Taehyun said with wonder. I have never seen writing like that. This could change everything we know about galactic history. Mira was about to order a closer look when alarms started screaming all over the bridge. Captain, Hyunwoo shouted. Ships coming in fast. Multiple contacts. On the main screen, Mira saw them. 5 ships moving like hungry predators. They were painted in dark colors with sharp edges. She knew those ships. Every spacer feared them. Kethmar raiders, she said, her voice tight with fear. The Kethmar were the worst kind of pirates. They attacked anyone who was weak. They took everything valuable and left their victims to die. They had no honor, no mercy. Captain, they are targeting us, Somin said. Her hands shook as she worked her controls. Their weapons are charging. Can we run? Mira asked. Hyunwoo checked his instruments. Not fast enough. They will catch us before we can jump to faster than light speed. Then we fight, Mira said, even though she knew it was hopeless. The Starseeker was a research ship. It had only basic shields and no real weapons. The first attack came without warning. Energy beams hit their ship hard. The lights went out for a moment, then came back dim and flickering. Shields down to 60%, Somin reported. We cannot take many more hits like that. Another attack. This time the ship shook so hard that Taehyun fell from his chair. Sparks flew from damaged equipment, shields failing, Somin said. They are targeting our engines now. The third attack was the worst. It hit their engine room directly. The ship went dead in space. No power, no movement. They were helpless. This is Captain Vok of the Kethmar War Band. A harsh voice came over their communications. You will prepare to be boarded. Resist and you die quickly. Cooperate and you die slowly. Cruel laughter filled the bridge. The raiders docked with their ship roughly. Mira heard cutting tools working on their hull. Soon armed Kethmar soldiers were everywhere on her ship. They were tall and thin with gray skin and red eyes. They moved like hunters. They took everything of value. Computer cores, navigation equipment, medical supplies, food, even their personal items. The soldiers were efficient and cold. They had done this many times before. Captain Vok was the worst of them. He looked at the Valdorian crew like they were insects. Your ship is worthless, he told Mira, but your cargo will buy us new weapons. Please, Mira said. Just leave us somewhere safe. We will not follow you, Vok laughed. It was a terrible sound. Safe? There is no safe in space, Valdorian. You wanted to explore the unknown. Now you will die in it. The raiders damaged their life support systems before they left. Not enough to kill them quickly, but enough to make sure they would die slowly. They also destroyed the communications array and the emergency beacon. You have maybe 4 days of air, Vok said as he prepared to leave. Use them to think about the mistake of coming here. Then the raiders were gone. Mira and her crew were alone in their broken ship, floating next to the ancient station. The silence was complete except for the quiet hum of failing systems. How long do we really have? Mira asked Somin. The engineer checked her readings. Her face was pale. Maybe 3 days if we are careful with the air. The recycling system is badly damaged. Mira looked at her crew. They were all young. They had families waiting for them at home. They did not deserve to die like this. Send out a distress signal, she ordered. Use everything we have left. Someone might hear us, but even as she said it, Mira knew it was hopeless. They were too far from any shipping lanes. Too far from any colonies. Space was vast and empty, and they were just 4 small lives lost in the darkness. The distress signal went out into the void, carrying their plea for help to the uncaring stars.